What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another freaking Path of Exile video with your boy, Surviving Frank. And when we last left off, we were in the Underdark. My zombie minions. From the waypoint. And actually tried recording this earlier, guys, and it just got flubbed up. FPS was dropping, so if you see a whole bunch of dead bodies laying around, that's why. So for right now, you know, we're gonna head towards this huge crab dude and take him out for the guy in town. But anyway, guys, I just want to talk to you and make sure that you remember subscriber of the day at the end of the video, because you too could be subscriber of the day with your pretty little annotation on the screen with a link to your channel. You don't have to have videos uploaded or nothing. You're just gonna be cool like me. But anyway, this video is gonna hit on a serious topic. I actually want to hit it around and talk about, kind of in tribute to people who have it rough or have been through the dark ages, as I like to call it, or someone that's been put through the ringer and thinks they're all alone. Trust me, you're not alone. And to start this little story off, I mean, you gotta count for the fact is I was raised by a single parent. I never was privileged. I didn't have everything I asked for, and I didn't get a lot of stuff growing up. I played my fair share of console games, but I really could never play PC games like this here Path of Exile. Or any of the other games that you'll probably see me play on my channel, because I pretty much had to earn my own computer. It wasn't given to me. I mean, I had a wild imagination as a kid, setting up a cardboard box and a checkerboard and a couple other weird things to, you know, basically at least make me think I had a computer. And I was obsessed with computers when I was small. I was just a tech nerd. But anyway, you know, just a few years from, you know, where I'm at now, just a few years back, I met a lady from Chicago, a young woman actually, and she seemed like a lady at the time, a very friendly, you know, coherent person that, you know, I could get along with, maybe have something with, you know. But I knew also in the back of my mind that disconnection is a good thing, you know, kind of just distance yourself away from the whole serious factor, because I've been put through some pretty bad relationships prior to this. So, and you know, you just get those feelings, and you just kind of like, ooh, I want to hold back or build up a wall or whatever, or you know, just take advantage, because you know, if you're taking advantage of someone, then you know, someone else is less likely to take advantage of you, and that happens a lot too. But basically, you know, I met her. I went and spent some time with her while she was studying in art school in Chicago, because she was like natively from Maryland. So I just kind of like moved back with her too, and stayed like a couple of days, and then came back home to North Carolina. And then after about 6 months to a year or so, I moved back up there to Maryland. And, you know, I'd got my GED, and, you know, I was all prepared to make a go and hopefully, you know, get a place and, you know, give each of us a life together. And I didn't know how serious she was with it and how serious I was with it. But I've always wanted to, you know, to have a family and settle down and have something, you know. Maybe if it was just, you know, barely something. Because, you know, yet again, I was, impoverished as a, you know, impoverished kid. I didn't have a lot of stuff. I was in poverty for sure. But, you know, here's the thing. Like, you know, I get up there, you know, and then from the, you know, couple of experiences I share with a few of my friends, they're like, wow, it sounds like to me you're in the wrong area to make something, because it's very expensive, it sounds like. And you're about to hit the nail on the head with that one. But, you know, of course, you know, you're young. You don't want to take advice. You want to, you know, figure it out for yourself, right? You want to try this out. Hey, I can do this, you know. Screw up people say, you know, I'm too proud to, you know, tuck tail, run back home and say, oh, I failed. So, and that's like my big mentality for this whole situation that struck me. You know, I got a job and finally got an apartment, which was nice. You know, it was a loft apartment, nothing special. But I happened to go out one time and then come home to have my property manager had broken into my room. And I knew because some things had been moved. And I had a specific key for mine, so I'd always lock it upon leaving and everything. And she apparently broke in and was looking for payment money or whatever. And of course, with the payment and the rent that I had to pay, it was expensive, man. And it was, you know, the property manager actually lived there, and the owner lived off-site, but there was just another roommate there as well. And, you know, the one lady, the property manager, she was middle-aged, and the woman, she was, you know, kind of elderly. And me, you know, I was the young pup, you know, the place. But I abided the rules and was quiet and courteous and all that to others. But, you know, so, you know, I'm chilling out, you know, and, you know, I get in there and notice my stuff's moving. I'm like, alright, something's going on here. So I go and I set her up. I continually lock my, you know, key into the room. And I'm like, oh man, I'm screwed, you know. And you know, the whole time it's in my pocket because, you know, I want to see how she did this. I was curious because I knew she had been in my room, and it would kind of been stupid if I'd actually forgot and locked my key in the room and was like, haha, I want to see how she got in, and actually she didn't get in. The wind just blew my stuff. Who knows? But luckily, she showed me exactly how she did it. It was the little part that clasped the door shut, the little clasp, but the lock kind of just, or the little thing that pokes out of the door just kind of pops in there. She popped that out with a butter knife, and the door sprung right open. So, and this is where we're going, to Flooded Depths. So, you know, after that, I confronted her about it and said, look, you know, lady, I knew you was in my room, alright, you know, and here's the deal. I make sure to be courteous to everybody here, clean up, don't, you know, disrespect anybody, and I don't expect that in return. I wouldn't go through your stuff, and I don't expect you to go through mine. She's like, how did you know I was in there? I was like, because, you remember the other night how I had you, you know, get me into my room? Well, there's things in my room that are, you know, just set that way, and I knew they were moved. So, yeah, I knew you were in my room. I'd just prefer you not to ever do that again. If you want something, come please ask me for it. You know, don't just barge in and just act like it's yours. And I'm sure you guys have had similar situations, maybe with your parents, siblings, you know, your little brothers and sisters or whatever, you know, or maybe your wife or something. Maybe, I don't know, dude. But, you know, dudes and gals, they all have differing opinions on things like that. But anyway, so the payments got too much. I couldn't afford it, so I basically lost the apartment, and I was ousted. I had like 30 days to get out. And I'd already tried to live with, you know, at the time, my girlfriend's parents, and they were like, oh, hell no. Because if you wasn't made of money, they didn't like you or didn't want anything to do with you. Or if you didn't just give them money just to be cool like that. Presents didn't buy into forever with them. And of course, I didn't have money, so I was frowned upon, you know, obviously. So, I mean, that's a pretty crummy way to, you know, kind of judge things and be like that, but hey, it's gonna happen, right? So, I was like, you know, whatever, they'll get what's coming to them. But upon losing the house, I was freaking homeless, you know, I had nowhere to go, I had nowhere to live, you know, I was on the streets, you know, and instead of, like, finding a way to get home, I just toughed it out. Like I said earlier, I was too full of pride, you know, I wanted to succeed, and the area I was living in, it was just barely any room to succeed. And, you know, on some nights I would sneak into, you know, my girlfriend's room, you know, in her house. Other times I would sleep on her back porch, or I'd sleep in her Jeep Cherokee outside with a couple blankets, and when it increasingly got colder I would use more blankets. And I've even slept on, like, kind of like a little, kind of like deck built around a elementary school. And some of the little extra places that they had classes in around back of the school before they actually renovated it, I would sleep there, just laying on hardwood flooring. And I mean, you gotta think, it was like some of the stuff was happening from the behind of summer into fall and on into winter. And you're probably like, well, when did you take a shower? Well, that's another one of the worst things, was because when I didn't get a shower because of her parents either being gone, or, you know, when she got her downstairs bathroom hooked up and stuff like that, I would basically take showers with gallon jugs of water that I'd buy at a grocery mart or something like that. And I would just douse myself with it, soap myself up, douse it off, wash my hair, douse it off, you know, and it was some cold water. I had no way to heat it up. Didn't even think of that. I just made it quick, simple, and easy, so I wasn't standing there and freezing my, you know, duties off. So, needless to say, I got pretty sick sometimes from doing that, and it was just rough. And, you know, I ended up losing a couple jobs from straight up depression. And, you know, then I got to the point where I got like 3 jobs at once, and, you know, they all fell apart because the increasing, you know, demand of each job and the hours that I'd have to work and everything. Oh, here's the big monster crab that we've all been waiting for. Oh, and here's his minions. But, I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. I mean, I was, you know, caught sleeping outside of, you know, my girlfriend's house one time, and I just acted like, you know, nothing of it, and just made some lame excuse. I don't even remember what it was, but just something to get out of the area, you know, because I didn't know what was going to happen. And they always suspected I was sneaking in, and they always suspected I was sleeping in her Jeep. Of course, I would get up at 4 in the morning. I was a manager of a couple seasonal stores, and I'd only worked there like a week before being promoted to manager, which was awesome. Those people I worked for were probably the best people I've ever worked for, because they were just like family, you know. It was an astounding thing, and this, you know, it was just great, all around great. But you know, I've walked in snow, rain, I've been in tropical storms and everything, because I had nowhere to go. I didn't have a roof over my head, and you know, I know you're like, wow, you know, that's crazy. I thought I was the only one, but that's not even the end of it. I was like 20. I was like an early 20-year-old adult male living out on the streets of Bethesda, which was the name of the place in Maryland I was staying. And you know, it was hard. It was a push. It was a struggle every day, but I did it. I forged my way through. I mean, the good thing I can say about living that was it was nomadic. It was freedom to the max. You could go do whatever. I mean, obviously you couldn't, you know, go rob, steal, kill, or nothing like that. Nothing your resident paladin wouldn't approve of, you know. But basically, yeah, you know, it was just bad. So when other people have rough times, whether it be money or, you know, they don't have anywhere to go or anything like that, I'm always offering money. You know, I've bettered myself now. You know, I'm past that. But you know, it's knowing how to get past it, I think, is, you know, part of the battle. The whole war is, you know, either one, how can I fully step out of this, or how did I end up here in the first place? And that can even be part of the battle. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of things that just kind of coax and jump into certain areas. And I know some people just, they're pounded by bills or debt or whatever, guys. Let me tell you something. Been there, I've done it, and I've seen the worst of it. I've not been able to do or go anywhere in life, and trust me, you're not alone. There's more than just me that's had this happen. But you know, it hurts to know that it's happened. It's a dark age of my past. It's something that, you know, I don't like talking about a lot of times, and it's something that's very sensitive, because, you know, a lot of people that you explain it to, one, they either feel sorry for you, they back away and run from you, or they just seem ultra interested. And there was some people that I met up on the streets of Maryland that was super interested in how I ended up like that and why I was living like that. They're like, dude, why don't you just get you a place? It's because I simply couldn't afford it, even working 3 jobs. I mean, there was condos right across from a little coffee shop my friend worked at, but we're talking anywhere from like $600,000 up to like millions of dollars, you know, and worth. And, you know, the payments of that, there was just no way I could afford that. Heck, even some of the condos on the first floor were, you know, $1,000,000-something housing. It was insane. So, you know, I mean, that's a point taken, guys. If you ever want to figure out, do your research about where you're going to move to before you move. Make sure you have a concrete plan, you know, in action. Make sure you maybe even have a place before you move. You have a job when you get there. Things like that. Take trips over there, make sure. I mean, I'm trying to move to Japan in the coming years, but I'm definitely not going to go quite about it the way I'm doing it now. Me and my wife, we're going to really think it through and make sure that what we're doing is the right way of doing it. But this is just a tribute to people who, you know, have it rough. And I just, you know, want to say you guys are not alone. And I'm sorry that whatever happened to you. And I hope that you can move past that and step forward and create a better life for you and those that love you, care about you, or vice versa, however. But, you know, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, and I wouldn't want to go through it again, because there was no really benefit for it. Did it make me stronger? Yes. But would it make me stronger again? Yes. But it was just so dark and so brooding that I wouldn't want to put myself through it again. But I just felt like sharing a personal story with you guys. I mean, hell, you're probably getting tired of me just talking about things going on in a video game, so I thought I'd just, you know, sorry though if it was a bit down, a bit depressing. You know, I tried to keep it, you know, a little on the up and up, or, you know, be all pepper and everything. But yeah, we killed that big freaking crab, and I think in the next video we'll move on to the next quest. I'm just shifting around on my inventory. But guys, make sure you follow me on Tumblr and Twitter. Make sure you favorite, like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Alright? So, yep, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Peace.